Well, it is 7:30, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I realize people are still coming in, but I want to make sure to respect everyone's time tonight. So as we get started, I want to do a quick sound check. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes. Yes.
Can everyone see the PowerPoint?
Yes. My computer, this is Delphine. My computer shut down. I'm rebooting it now.
Okay. I would like you guys to please mute your microphones now and then unmute it at any time you want to share your thoughts or have questions during our live session tonight. Muting your microphones just helps cut down on the background noise. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our second live session module. Here is an overview of the agenda for tonight's module for our Module 4 live session. We'll start out with reminders, important dates, and we're going to talk a little bit about academic integrity tonight. We'll have a welcome and introductions, checking in, reflection and critical questions from Chapter 7, importance of play, and what you have learned from the last module, and then nurturing relationships, and then you'll have time for questions and answers. So I want to go over some important reminders and important reminders for you guys. Please review the course calendar. All assignments are due by 11:59 Central Standard Time every Sunday. Initial discussion posts are due at 11:59 p.m. every Tuesday. Discussion responses to peers are due on Saturday at 11:59 p.m. We will have our third and final live session next week on November 1st at 7:30. Don't forget to work on your journals this week. It will be due in Module 5. So you should be writing a journal every single week. And this week's area of focus is how educators impact positive self-esteem, that we will be talking a little bit about tonight as well. So I want to talk a little bit tonight just briefly about academic integrity. So I've noticed some academic integrity on some of the assignments and some posts that were submitted. I just want to reiterate to you guys that the Rasmussen College Academic Integrity Policy is located at the bottom of your guys' syllabus. Moving forward, you will receive a 0 on any assignment that has plagiarism on. Please use your own words when writing posts, writing assignments, journals, etc. If you use information that is not yours, just please be sure to cite it and put it in quotations and refer to your APA format so you do not get in trouble for it. You know, the consequence for this could be like expulsion from school. So I don't wish that on any of my students, but I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of it and you guys take it seriously. Does anybody have any questions about that? No? All right, moving on. So, welcome and introductions. I want you guys to share a little bit about yourselves. I'll share a little bit about myself. Basically, tell me who you are, state where you currently are living at, and the favorite place you have visited and why. I just want to share a little bit about myself. I think most of you guys know that I live in Colorado. I've worked for the public and private sectors as a teacher and a director for the last 10 years. and also have worked in the public school system. I'm currently an education supervisor for the Adams County Head Start program in Denver Metro. The picture that you see is my family from this summer. We were at Disneyland in California, and that is one of my favorite places to visit. Not just because of Disneyland, but because of the beach. I really love the beach. It's calming and peaceful. So that's a little bit about me. I'm opening it up to you guys to share a little bit about yourself, your favorite place you have visited, and where you're from, and your name.
My name is Delphine Wilson. I'm from the state of Illinois, and my favorite place that I visited for this past summer was Branson, Missouri, because we had so much fun there. There was a lot of shows we were able to see there and so many exciting things to do.
Thank you, Delphine. Welcome to class.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Brittany. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I visited Puerto Rico this past summer before all the hurricane happened, unfortunately. It was really, really nice. I went to the beach like every single day. Food was amazing. I just had a lot of fun. It was a girls' trip, so we plan on going back. Hopefully things will be back in order. I advise everyone to take a trip there. It was really, really nice.
Thank you for sharing, Brittany. Welcome.
I'm Christina. I am from Illinois. My favorite place to visit is Wisconsin Dells with my kids because they're obsessed with the water park, and we go multiple times a year.
Welcome, Christina. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Diana Hernandez. I live in Florida, and my favorite place to visit so far is SeaWorld. I love the animals, so I love going there.
Welcome, Lydiana. Anybody else? All right, if nobody else wants to participate, I'm going to move forward. Oh, somebody want to participate? Somebody. Nope. All right. Moving forward, keep calm and check in. So just kind of want to check in with you guys. How is the class going so far for you guys? Are you guys reading the announcements each week and using the scoring rubrics? How about APA format? Have you guys looked at the resource tab?
Yes, I've started looking.
And how is that going for you?
The classes are going very fast, and I'm finally getting the APA format down.
Yeah, it takes a little while if you're not used to doing that. Anybody else want to share? How's everything going? What's your reactions from week 4?
I tried using the APA formatting through the resource tab, and I also use Grammarly. I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with that, but it actually really helped me out with my paper. I had a bunch of corrections that I didn't even realize, so I reviewed my paper a few times and used that resource. But so far, so good. I can't believe we're in week 4 as well. It's gone really fast.
Yeah, these classes, Brittany, go by really, really quick. You know, 5.5 weeks. I mean, we're almost in what, week 5, so we're almost done. I mean, we're a little bit more than halfway done, so
Exactly.
I just continue you guys just to keep doing a good job and ask questions. That's the only way we learn. I know that's the only way I learn is to ask questions. No question is dumb. Just if you don't know something, ask. And, you know, if for some reason, if I don't know it, I will find the answer out for you. And I try to get back to you as soon as possible. Anybody else want to share how the class is going so far? All right, so tonight, you guys were supposed to come prepared with reflection for the critical thinking questions from chapter 7. We were supposed to answer 1 and 3. Establishing effective environments for children. With that in mind, and thinking about your own teaching practices, think about and discuss ways learning environments affect children's behavior, relationship with peers, and academic performance. I know for me, you know, if children are overstimulated, they're going to misbehave, and if they are understimulated, they're going to be bored and might get into trouble. So, you know, as educators, we want to provide a learning environment that is developmentally appropriate and engaging without being overstimulating. Trying to find that balance, you know, depends on your children and where they are in their development. If a child is overstimulated, he may misbehave by hitting or biting another child. This can have negative effects on peers because the focus is taken off development and academics. So that's something I kind of wanted to share with you guys. We'll open it up for discussion from the rest of you.
I've noticed a lot of times when kids are coming in from school, or coming in from with their parents, a lot of times it could be frustration going on as well as far as affecting their behavior. So I see that happens a lot lately.
Why do you think it's happening lately? Do you think it's because Halloween is near us?
It's just that I find that a lot of parents seem to be maybe working overtime or gearing things a lot for the holidays.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody else see that?
I agree. At my center currently, I'm not sure what's going on, but everyone seems to be taking a vacation. So a lot of the children come back and they're just not used to, I guess, like the routine that they had before, or maybe their parents are getting stressed out from, I don't know, packing or having to travel a lot. So I've noticed that as well.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing, Brittany. I know here in Colorado, a lot of the school districts have fall break right now and last week. So there's a lot of children that are not in school in attendance, even though we are still in session. And when they get back, it seems like they forgot how to behave when they come in.
Exactly, that's true.
how does that affect peers when they come back in? Say you have a child that's constantly there, and then you have a child that comes back from vacation with their parents and misbehaves to the kid that has been always there, who has done everything perfectly. How does that affect your class?
Sometimes it creates chaos.
Say that again, Delphine, sorry.
It seems like sometimes it creates chaos.
Chaos, yeah. As a teacher, you know, how do you diffuse the situation when that happens? How do you redirect them?
If we're doing an activity, that helps. Or sometimes just to have the children to come and talk to each other. A lot of times they, you know, like, come on, look who's excited to see you. And sometimes that helps to calm things down.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else want to share?
I would just kind of like reintroduce them to each other. I'm like, do you remember this person's name? Or, you know, just kind of like have circle time and do like some other songs maybe to have them feel comfortable again in the classroom with the teachers and their peers.
Nice, yeah, you have to almost reintroduce everything right away again.
Yes.
So do you think reintroducing new stuff to kids that have already been there, do you think that, what does that do to the kids that have been already in there? Do you think that helps them, or do you think that is kind of, I don't know, they get bored from hearing the same things? And how would you challenge them?
For me, if it was children that was already there and other children coming in from being out of town or being even away with their grandparents, I would just challenge the child that's there by changing something in the, you know, in the format. Like perhaps if we were doing colors, maybe I would add something else to it. You know, like maybe a song or pick a book or something different that we didn't do the first time.
Sure, that's a great example. Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
I think it's okay to go over some of the songs again, just so the other child could feel like he's a part or she's a part. But then from there, maybe let's find something different. Like I'm not sure what her name was. Delphine said, just kind of add in a different storyline or just doing something different from the first time. But I think it's okay to do that same song just to have them remember it, and then teach, you know, the friend that came back it all over again. Maybe they can teach it to them instead of the teacher.
That's a great idea. Having another child teach them that song is a great idea. It does promote positive, nurturing relationships. Anybody else have anything to add?
Well, for me, my situation is different because I take care of siblings, so there's no other children that I have to teach pretty much. So when they go on vacation to their grandmother's house, they do kind of come back kind of chaotic. But it's easy because since they're the only kids, I don't have to redirect anybody else. It's just teach them.
Mhm.
The oldest one is pretty smart. And I'm like, okay, Sky, it's time to learn. You're back home. And she's like, okay. So I guess in my situation is pretty easier since I'm not in a center. I'm pretty much like, I babysit my neighbor's kids, so I see them all the time.
Mhm.
So for me, it's a lot easier to literally there's times that she'll go home and she's like, can I go back to Lily's house? And she'll come here and she loves her ABCs, because I have a room for her. So I guess my situation is a little bit different from everybody else because when they go on vacation and come back, I don't have other kids that I have to redirect or anything like that.
And what are the ages, Lydiana, did you take care of? What ages are the kiddos?
10 months old, 3.5. She's almost 4, and a 2-year-old.
Mm.
So they're pretty different in age-wise because they're all at different stages.
Mhm.
I know the 2-year-old brother, he's from a different mom, but he's not full-time as the 2 girls.
What kind of things
But since they're all siblings, it's easy.
have you ever went to the park? Have they ever socially been engaged in the park with other children, and how do they respond to other children in a social setting that is different than theirs with just them?
Oh, they do actually pretty good because I have 4 children myself. So they're always, once I pick up my kids from school, my kids are older, so they socialize pretty well with them. And I do take them to the park, and they do pretty good.
Very nice.
They're used to, because I do take them at least twice a week to the park, so they're accustomed being around other kids at all times.
And that's good. That's good skills for them to have that social aspect of sharing and taking turns and just being around.
Yeah, they do pretty well. And my kids, actually, they learn a lot. I have a 11-year-old, 12-year-old, and a 13-year-old. So especially the almost 4-year-old, I mean, she thinks she's already in school, growing up. My kids are doing homework. She's like, I'm gonna sit with them and do homework. I'm like, oh Lord.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. They start out at a young age. My little daughter, who's almost 2, tries to copy and mimic what I do, and I'm just like, trust me, you do not want to be doing this. Be a kid as long as you can.
Yeah, my kids are ready to be grown up, and I'm like, no, guys, you don't want to be an adult yet.
That is the truth. Does anybody else have anything else to share on the reflection and critical thinking question from Chapter 7 about learning environments and how they affect children's behavior, peers, and academic performance? All right, well, I'm going to move on to our next question. So it's kind of continued. It's the third question from the end of the chapter. And asks, if you were asked to design a one-room child care center or an early childhood classroom, what would be the most important influences on your decision-making as presented in Chapter 7? You may choose from a I can't say that word, oh my goodness, philosophical position or the more practical ideas. So they talked a little bit about Maslow's hierarchy. You could choose to what would you do? What's important for you in your decision making? And say if you are, taking care of kids in the house, even what would you include in your home daycare or taking care of your children? I know in the chapter, they talked about 12 guiding principles to use when arranging learning centers. So like immovable resources are necessary for learning centers. You know, like what does that mean? What does immovable resources for learning centers mean? And why is that important?
Children can get hurt with if you have something, for instance, like furniture, different shelving and everything, and movable furniture, you know, it helps prevent accidents.
Sure, you don't want something that hits on a child.
Right.
That is not very stable. Would you locate a center near the sink for access to water for preparing, say, art, media, hand washing, and cleanup of area after use?
Yeah.
You know, you pretty much want your water source closer to wherever you. Go ahead. Sorry.
You want it closer to the mess where you know projects and activities are being done.
Yeah, definitely. What else? I mean, obviously you want easels and paintings close to there. What else of kind of furniture or furnishings that you would like to have?
Usually, the teacher has a desk, and you would want your desk to face the children and not away from them. We've had an issue like that at work where the desk was like your back was towards the children, so they just rearranged it around to make sure our eyes are on the children at all times, and like our backs or our sides aren't away from them.
Mhm. So having a teacher desk and making sure that it is properly placed so you have supervision of children, so you don't have little Johnny doing something he shouldn't be doing.
Project.
So what type of tools or materials would you guys use in your center when you design it? And what I mean by tools, like, I'm talking about pencils, crayons, markers, papers of all kinds. Is there anything else that you would do? And I suppose it depends on the age, right?
Right.
Yes.
Because you can't really give an infant scissors because that would be disaster.
I really like that butcher's block or that painter's roll, is that what they call it, the long sheets of paper. They could do so many things with that as far as art.
Mhm. Have you ever considered taking that stuff that you put in the classroom and putting it outside and having it hang up outside on your center or like on the fence or something to have it displayed to the public?
No, but that's an excellent idea.
I think that does promote a lot of just a lot of things. Sometimes I know when I was a teacher, I used to take a lot of my outside or my inside resources like paintings and put my easel outside and put the block area outside and kind of almost put my inside of the classroom material outside for children to use. And the children really got excited about that because it was something new and it was different.
That's excellent. I know we took the water table out before.
And how did that go for you? Did the kids like it?
They loved it. Yes, they loved it. It was different.
What else can what else would you guys, what influences you on making your decisions for making a room a design? I mean, there's just so much that goes into it.
Well, really, it's the age. Like if you're doing infants, you need to make sure that you have like a spot to change, a spot to feed. You need spots, for them to crawl. So it really depends on the age range.
So, Christina, what happens if you had infants?
I would definitely make sure I had a bigger spot for them to, since they're exploring, they're starting to crawl, they're starting to walk, they need a section, strictly for like changing and, when they go to the bathroom, and separate from when they're, eating. And so with infants, they need more, I think they would need more room because they have, more of they have more responsibilities, to get done.
Mhm. Would you ever consider taking like the library outside?
I would, yeah, absolutely.
How about music? I know it's really hard to have music on the playground unless you have it on your phone, but I mean that's another, another way, or even having your dramatic play. And firefighters are usually see firefighters outside, dressing up as like a firefighter or a policeman or a doctor or something like that, outside.
Children love that.
Is there anything else that you would consider that would influence your decision on designing your one-room child care center or your classroom? And like you said, I think Christina said, it depends on the age range. It depends on if you have infants or if you have toddlers or if you have preschoolers or school age or whatever it is, because they are all at different developmental stages. Does anybody else want to share anything else along the lines of designing a one-room child care center?
Yes. In infants, I was gonna mention before anyone can come in, they have to like put on these little slipper things because they can track others, and the children are always crawling around or exploring. So we try to limit as many germs as possible on the floors. Also in like the crib area, we have like a night light, like a little lamp back there, turn on like during nap time, so that it's not too dark in the classroom. We do like dim some of the light. It just keeps them, I guess, feeling more comfortable in like in a home environment. So I would make sure I would have like a lamp, and definitely if anyone's coming in and out of the classroom, make sure that they have those flipper things on so they're not tracking any germs.
Thank you for sharing, Brittany. Is there anything else in regards to the one-room child care center of designing it. I really encourage you, if you have not already, to go back and, if you have to do it for another class or not, but go back and, because I know one of my classes, when I took an ECE class, they had me design my own room, and just making sure that, using kind of the guidelines of the 12 guiding questions in Chapter 7 and 7.1 for your benefit. It's a good resource. All right, so moving on to our next topic, it's in Module 3, you guys reviewed and had some lessons and discussions on the importance of play and what play should be enjoyable, meaningful, timely, and involved. How did you like that module? Did you guys enjoy the clips that with the infant, the preschoolers, and just knowing the stage of play it was?
Yes, I enjoyed it.
What did you enjoy the most?
I think it was one of the videos that I watched with the infant and the toot the horn, the toot the horn video, when they would make sitting down on the play mat, it was tooting their horn, and the other little children was watching by. They were onlookers, and one little boy walked away, but the little boy that was sitting, the little tutor was sitting on the mat still playing. It looked like they continued to play even more or added more sound when they noticed that they were being watched. So I enjoyed watching that.
Nice.
I like the video with, I'm not sure, I think it was Module 3. The little boy saw like the reflection in and out of the light with, I'm not sure if it was the ball or what he had exactly, but he was just so amazed by it, like, appearing and then disappearing. And I just thought it was so cute how he figured it out and was like, oh, like, there it is again.
It's really funny how some of those clips, you just kind of get a snapshot of what their activity and what their activity and their day kind of looks like. Kind of funny. So I guess my question, we talk about what makes play important, and one of the things that the book talks about and the chapter is it has to be enjoyable. I'm going to play devil's advocate with you guys. What factors would make play less enjoyable for children?
Not having enough tools for them to use, learning tools like, things that's in the classroom, music and books and different colors and just the setup of the room. They would be bored because I put myself in the same kind of position. What would I enjoy and what wouldn't I enjoy?
Great.
I feel like, I'm sorry. If their teacher isn't energetic or enthused about teaching them, then they may not feel as excited and they may just not be engaged as much. So I feel like if the teacher is energetic and wants to teach them and sing songs with them, then they'll be more interested in playing or just having a good time.
Yes, that's important.
Yeah, I think, a lot has to do with, the teacher and the teacher's attitude and their interactions with the students, and a lot, you know, has to do with attitude with the children. I know later on, just a little bit, we will there will be a short video that you guys could view about children being expelled. It's a TED Talk video that you guys could view. It's pretty interesting. Basically, the lady, well, I'll let you guys watch it, but the lady talks a little bit about how adults, we need to change the way we think when we do teach our children. So we talked a little bit about learning materials that can be applied to their experiences. What else would make play less enjoyable?
For my 3.5-year-old, she doesn't like to be told how to play things. I have to let her freely let her do what she wants to do. Like if she wants to use a book in the kitchen, okay, because she'll be like, no, Miss Lily, the book is the recipe. She'll make up a story, but she just mixes it all up, and I'm like, okay, and it works. It always works. I'm like, okay.
And that's great. I mean, yeah, teachers who correct child's work is not very effective. You know, going along with what they're doing and is scaffolding their learning does help that.
Yeah, she uses her sister as a prop sometimes. Like she tries to pick her up. No, she's gonna be there. I'm like, okay, let's go. I mean, she has a really good imagination.
Does anybody else have anything to share on that question? So on another question to ask is, what factors might restrict play? We say that play needs to be free. What factors restrict play?
Having a lot of chairs and tables in your classroom.
Tell me more.
Children can't really get around when you have a lot of places for them to, you know, that you always, instead of having them like play on the floor or anything like that, when you have a lot of tables and chairs, they really can't, you know, you're making them sit down. It's restricting them. They don't get a chance to have free play and really run around or have the proper spacing.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, keeping them at one place is not very creative, and it's not good. Restrictive when children are directed to a specific interest area, or even if they're rotated on a time schedule. I know some teachers use time schedules, or when toys or materials are just in one particular place, like you can't take dramatic play over to the library or something to that extent. I think as teachers and educators, we just need to be open-minded that their imaginations are very creative, and we just need to let them direct us what their interests are.
I agree with that a lot.
So what other factors might restrict play? for some of you guys that are in a childcare setting or a school, think about your daily schedule and think about what that consists of. Do they have adequate time to play? Or are there too many transitions?
For me, it's too many transitions. I work with 2-year-olds, and I know for me, it's not like some days it's not really a schedule. So we have to really go off based upon how their day is going. And we have to take that and tweak it into our lesson plan, our daily lesson plan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 2-year-olds are tough. The transitions are, I mean, they're a lot.
Yes.
Especially when they're potty training. Anybody else have anything else on the subject of importance of play and the restrictedness of free play? All right, well, I'm going to move on. So, share what has impacted your learning most in this module, module 4. Nurturing relationships. By the way, that is my little girl trying to type.
Point type is so cute.
Thanks.
What has impacted my learning? I think that being able to challenge the kids more, I need to start challenging my children more that I'm learning from Module 4.
Mm-hmm.
Watching the videos and seeing how some of the educators, you know, use some of the learning tools as far as helping the children to expand their being able to go to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, scaffolding their learning is a great tool.
Yes.
To promote higher thinking.
I think the 10 positive teaching strategy, the 10 positive teaching strategies, that was something interesting to kind of look into and understand, especially with the assignment. It made, you know, like it challenged you to, you know, come up with your own things, and I thought I learned a lot from it.
Is there anything else that has impacted your learning that you could apply to your practice? So I know that, you know, the week it's not completely over with. but I wanted to share a little bit, you know, nurturing relationships. You know, what are some ways you can positively nurture relationships with young children and their families? I think, you know, a positive adult-child relationship is built on trust and understanding and caring. And I think that will foster children's cooperation and their motivation to increase their positive outcomes, not just in the classroom, right, you know, with ECE, but in school when they get into public school or charter school or whatever school they go into. And I think that some key ingredients for building that, those nurturing relationships, is like, you know, I think the very first thing is getting to know your child and having those meaningful, positive relationships. I think is essential, and it gains understanding of children's, you know, getting to know your children's preference and interests, backgrounds, culture, stuff like that. And then for like children that have special needs, it's most often assessed by observing what children do and speaking differently to parents and other caregivers. You know, it takes a lot of love for many children. Many children developing positive relationships with adults is not the easiest task in the world. It's actually pretty difficult. You know, prior negative history and interfering behavior often conspire to make the task of the relationship development long and really hard. You know, some things that you could do, you know, is, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but it's called making deposits, and I do this with my teachers at my center. So basically, it's a metaphor for building positive relationships that we find particularly helpful is that of a piggy bank. So whenever a teacher and caregiver engage in strategies to build positive relationships, it's as if they're like making a deposit in a child's relationship piggy bank. Conversely, when adults make demands like nags or criticize children, is that it's like they're making a relationship withdrawal from the piggy bank for some children, because there has been no prior effort to make deposits in their relationship piggy bank. Nagging, criticism, and demands become more kind of like writing bad checks. I guess that's kind of what that would be. You know, it might be helpful to reflect on the interactions you have with an individual child and think to yourself, am I making a deposit or am I making a withdrawal? Or have I made any deposits in Billy's piggy bank? I mean, you know, the teachers and child care providers strive to build positive relationships with all children in their care, but, you know, as most of you guys know, it's more difficult to build positive relationships with some than others. You know, we all have had our experience with children who pushed our buttons, right? You know, they demand more attention and are usually disruptive, unmotivated, oppositional, aggressive. You know, when our hot buttons get pushed, we may feel frustrated and discouraged, bad about ourselves as teachers, causing us to get angry, raise our voices, criticize, or actively avoid these children. I'm guilty of it myself when I was a teacher. Yet the very children we find the most difficult to build relationships with are with the ones who need the positive relationships with adults the most. You know, it's a natural reaction to feel emotional when a hot button is pushed, but, you know, instead of feeling frustrated or angry or guilty about it, it's more productive to think of an emotional response as a warning sign that you'll have to work extra hard to proactively build a positive relationship with the child. You know, some of those strategies for building those positive relationships could be, you know, greet every child at the door by name, follow child's lead during play, have a conversation over snack, conduct home visits. I mean, there's a billion things that you could possibly do. Give hugs, high fives, thumbs up, hold a child's hand. You know, there's a lot of things that you could do. Play a game with them. Have sharing days. Acknowledge the child's effort, even if the child is driving you bananas. I mean, you know, they're just seeking for that relationship with you. You know, providing that child with the opportunity to have a warm and responsive relationship with you means probably the world for them. So I do encourage you guys to do some of those things. And I'm sure some of you guys are doing some of those things anyways. But what are some of the ways you can positively nurture relationships with young children, and what do you guys do with your families, I guess is my next question.
We have a parent involvement board. We have when we have parents to to take pictures of things that they're doing with their kids, whether it's going to a park or going on a trip or going to the movies. So they give us pictures, and we post them on our wall. So we have a parent involvement board.
Very nice. And does a lot of your parents participate in that?
Yes, they just started doing it because one parent, we put a picture up there with their child. They was doing homework with their child. They was doing number cards, and so they saw it up there, and then next to the picture it said parent involvement. So they started putting their names up and say, well, what can I do? And one of the parents said, can I come in and read or do a puppet show? So it really, really worked, and it turned out really well.
That's awesome.
We've done, well, tomorrow actually we're having like a harvest fest, and it's like towards the end of our day, but it's for all the parents and the children to come, and we have like a mini hayride, and it's just like an involvement for everyone. So it's really fun. We do it every year. We like carve pumpkins, and just like something that we all do together, and we all like involve each other. All the parents from all age groups get to know each other, and some of them work together. So it's really fun to have everyone around and just having a bonding relationship with each other.
That's awesome. I like the fact of a harvest fest. Anyone else want to share? What are some ways you could positively nurture relationships with young children and their families? Well, I kind of left you guys the TED Talk video that I would like you guys to share. This gives you more of an idea of what we need to do as educators to become better and be more receptive to what our children needs in the classroom. So that's a little bit about that. You guys could view that at your own time. As we come to a close, does anybody have any questions at this time?
When exactly are the journals due? I know you said in Module 5, which is next week, but what day? And I know what, like by midnight at a certain time, or do we send in like all of it on one Word format page? I wasn't sure how to send it or when it's actually due.
Yeah, good question. So it will be due on Sunday of next week. so Sunday at 11:59 p.m. You will need to do an APA format, so a cover page for the module. So each different journal reflection has to be 1 page at least. So you could have the title say journal topic number 2 on 1 page, and then you write about your journal. And then the next page you can have journal topic number 3 and whatever it is, and then so on. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
But yeah, it does need a cover page. It only needs 1 cover page, but it should be a running, pretty much a running document with 1 page and then another page for journal 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you guys could submit it at the end of module 5's assignment on 11:59 on Sunday of next week.
These are from our own thoughts, right? I'm sorry.
Say that one more time, sorry.
When we do the journals, we don't have to use any information like, anything from maybe magazines or anything like that look up or anything like that at the last page of the APA format?
No, you don't need to include magazines or resources.
No.
It's pretty much just reflection on what your thoughts are on the topic. The only thing that is APA formatted is that cover page.
Okay.
So, having the journal entry topics and then the college and your name or the date, or I think it's your name and then at the end the date. So, following that format. That's the only thing that's APA for that. Unless you do a direct quote in there, or if you do pull something else out, yeah. But no, other than that, yeah, it's just pretty much reflective.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any other questions? And, feel free, if you guys have questions come up, give me, you could send me an email, send me a text. I'm usually pretty good at replying. Calling back, I'm a little bit slower because I do work another job. So, other than that, I will also be posting this video on, I will be posting this video later on tonight or early tomorrow. So anybody doesn't have any questions, I will see you guys next Wednesday at 7:30.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies.